Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join with me in a salute to our flag and our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And remain standing for our prayer, please.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for your work in our city. Please help Guthrie's leaders before you and its citizens to have vision, courage, and unity to make a positive difference in our community. Please continue to provide for the needs of all who live here and help us to be welcoming to newcomers, showing hospitality to all we meet. May our thoughts, words, and deeds be acceptable to you during tonight's meeting and after we walk out the door. And finally, Lord, we ask that you bring help to all those whose lives have been changed in our state and in our country by recent storms. With gratitude in our hearts, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I open our City of Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of May 7th. Second item on the agenda are public comments, community announcements, and recognitions. First item that we have in that category is recognition of service. Eddie?
Yes, Mayor and Council. I am honored today to express our deepest gratitude to you, the esteemed members of the City Council, for your unwavering dedication and tireless efforts in service to the City of Guthrie. In every decision made, every policy implemented, and every initiative undertaken, you have consistently prioritized the well-being and prosperity of our beloved community. Although there are a plethora of duties and tasks that each of you undertake as members of the Guthrie City Council, it is important that we recognize the countless hours spent in meetings, engaging with constituents, and attending community events, to name a few. Your unwavering commitment to transparency, accountability, and integrity has instilled trust and confidence among the citizens of Guthrie. I believe our recent CIP sales tax is a prime example of this. As we reflect on the achievements of the past and look towards the opportunity of the future, we would like to take a moment to express our sincerest appreciation to each of you, our Guthrie City Council. Your dedication, perseverance, and selfless devotion have undoubtedly made a profound and lasting impact on the fabric of our city. With that, as is authorized in Article 2, Section 2, Paragraph 8 of the Guthrie City Charter, we now will present to each of you the ceremonial dollar of your salary.
Yeah.
The only reason I did this job.
If you want to come down, we'll get a photo with each of you in your whole $1. Step right up.
Smile.
I'm smiling. I want Eddie in my picture.
Oh my goodness.
Eddie don't get to come in your picture.
How about the mayor?
And man.
And the mayor. Perfect.
Just stay there.
Okay.
I got sworn in with 4 other people at the same time, but the dollar I get back on
thank you very much for that recognition, Eddie. I speak for all of the council when we say we don't do it for this dollar. We do it for those people out here and those watching throughout the city of Guthrie. That's why we do it. That's our mission. It's our passion. So thank you for this recognition, though.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
National Police Chief, or Police Week proclamation. Chief, you gonna be up here with me?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yes, he will join you.
$1 too? All right, this proclamation reads, May 12th to the 18th, 2024 National Police Week. Whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Guthrie Police Department. And whereas there have been 60,105 assaults against law enforcement officers 2021, resulting in approximately 18,568 injuries. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 23,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, including 3 members of our own Guthrie Police Department. Whereas the names of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas 556 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring. Whereas May 15th is designated as Police Officer Memorial Day in honor of all former fallen officers and their families. Now be it therefore resolved that I, Stephen J. Getman, Mayor of the City of Guthrie, formally designate May 12th through the 18th, 2024, as a police week in the City of Guthrie, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Chief, thank you. Weeks or days like yesterday, we all recognize the great work that all public servants do, but especially the police and fire department. But you know what? They deserve that every single day because they're there for us. Thank you, Chief. Oh, usually?
Smile.
All right, and then we have a recognition of the fire department personnel. Chief, you handling that or?
No, unfortunately, it's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My name is Drew Heimer. I'm lieutenant on blue shift with the fire department. I want to thank you, council, from the fire department for allowing us a few minutes to recognize some individuals. I didn't prepare anything written like you guys did before, but just like our jobs, we're going to show up and get it done. Over my 16 years that I've been here, the last year has been trying in some areas with the fire department, but it also morale and the positivity that we have at the station hasn't been higher. One of the reasons is you, City Council. 2 is Chief Lawson. And the individuals that we want to recognize tonight are part of fostering a new culture of positivity and serving the citizens. So tonight we want to recognize 5 individuals. They've completed their 1-year probationary period to where now they are considered firefighters, not rookies. They will get shields replaced with their number for their appropriate shift and have the R. They'll be able to take it home, frame it, whatever they want to do. With that, we have 1-year pins, and their family and or significant other is going to pin that. So we just want to recognize them. Each shift will probably do something on their own for their individuals on their appropriate shift, but we wanted to recognize them publicly because these individuals are who the public sees at 2 a.m. when they have their emergency. These are the guys that are on grass fires over the last year, structure fires, car fires, special events, 89ers Day, Lazy E, EMS calls, and a lot of sleepless nights. As I call them up, their significant other, family will come up. Once they're all up here, then we'll do the pinning. Okay? Firefighter Kaylin Gross. Firefighter Zeb Robbins. Firefighter Jake Zerden. Firefighter Jake Logan. And firefighter Mason Davis. And if those who are going to pin, if you want to go ahead and come up. And as you're doing it from the department, guys, I want to thank you from the department and personally for everything that you've done over the past year. Like I said, not only the hard work you've put in, but the culture that you guys are helping foster. And don't ever lose that drive and that determination, the hard work, okay? Because it's paying off and it's going to pay off more in the future. Appreciate you guys very much.
Lieutenant Hunter. Before you guys disperse, let's get a full group photo, and then I want to echo something Lieutenant Heimer just said. The morale and the atmosphere, not only at Guthrie Fire and EMS, but in the city of Guthrie, has done a 180 in the last year. And that is a testament to each of you, the city council, and our staff, as well as Chief Lawson. So thank you for being a part of that change. We do appreciate you very much.
All right, right here, so it's centered. One, two, got it.
All right.
Okay, so Mayor and Council, last but certainly not least, we'd like to recognize one other member. I'd like Andrew and his family to come up here, if they don't mind. Andrew has served in the United States Army since 2011 and has been a member with the Guthrie Fire Department since 2016. Andrew was deployed the last 9 months in Djibouti, Africa. Not only does he serve to keep this country safe and free, but he also serves to protect the citizens of Guthrie. His dedication to this country and the citizens are unmatched. Also, we would like to recognize his family. The Collier family, like many others, makes a significant sacrifice. It is never easy having to go several months without a father or spouse. We express our deepest gratitude to the Collier family and their support and sacrifice.
Very good. Well, it's great to move on from the probationary time, but I suspect that that they're never really rookies, that they're hitting the pavement pretty hard from day one. Chief, again, congratulations to you for your leadership and leadership of your team, and thanks for the wonderful support that every citizen gets from our Guthrie Fire Department. Part of Team Guthrie, valuable part, fire department, police department that we recognize today. Thank you very much again. Okay, we have, I think, one request for comment. Commander Downs? I don't know how you followed this, but
It's going to be really tough. I'm Charlie Downs with the American Legion, Post 58 here in Guthrie. On behalf of the American Legion, I want to thank the city of Guthrie, to the city employees, and all of city council for their support for this year's 89ers events. I have a few items donated by the truck gathering group that came here this year, first time. They were donated by Mark Parks with Oklahoma Customs and Mike Pinnell with the truck gathering out of Texas. They wanted me to thank you for all of their support. They've told me that they love Guthrie and the Cottonwood Flats where they held their event, and they're planning on coming back next year and maybe even having a bigger event.
great, great.
So if I may, I have something I'd like to pass out on their behalf. And I don't know why, but I want to call the police chief up. It's a nice little mug with the truck gathering event on it.
All right.
Nice.
I always start with the chief.
Good.
Yeah.
And in the box, there is. Thank you. And one of your officers. Yes, sir, I will. And I can make it easier if I could just approach everyone.
Sure, absolutely. That'd be great, Commander.
Of course, the fire chief. Oh, that's a little bigger than the last one. The last time I didn't give you one, but I wanted to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Alex,
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Commander, thank you very much.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks, Charlie.
Should all this stuff here. There's we get drinks.
You don't want to say camera.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I forget and go, when was that at?
But I'd also like to introduce Carrie Fryer, who was the chair of the 89er committee for this year's 89er event. I'd like to introduce Carrie Fryer.
Gary? Welcome.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all the support this year. It was a great event and look forward to next year.
Bigger and better. Okay, that concludes the public comments, committee announcements, and recognitions. Item number 3 is consent agenda. Items A, B, and C. A is the approval of Public Works Authority meeting of April 16th. B is the approval of payment to the Southwest Water Works for pay application number 2 for $119,225 for the water main replacement project. And C is the approval of payment to Myers Engineering for invoice 222246-13 for $30,899.69 for engineering services, again, on the water main replacement project. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
And do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes.
I'll vote, Ryan.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present then to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C. Item number 4, items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item number 5, resolution number 2024-08, authorizing the Guthrie Public Works Authority to issue a utility system and sales tax revenue note, Series 2024, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $8 million. Eddie?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this item comes as a result of the special meeting we held in April, which is the financing of CIP sales tax number 2. So what we've got before you is an $8 million loan with a 15-year payment, 15-year term, which will address the construction and purchase of property for the second fire and EMS station. We'll address the water towers and the west side booster pump station, as well as start the ADA improvements in the downtown core. So if you'll recall, there were 6 total projects that were tied with CIP number 2. At this time, these 3 projects will be funded as a part of the financing, and then the remaining projects will begin and or be completed with the CIP funds as they are accrued or as the cash that we have in the bank today. If there are any other questions or anything you would like to discuss as to the material facts of the loan or the documentation, John Wolf with Municipal Finance Services is here, as well as a representative from the Public Finance Law Group. So, John, you've got the floor, sir. He was prepared.
You went up, John.
Since you're closest to the podium, John.
You probably wouldn't expect, I'd just be glad to answer any questions, but I can certainly talk as.
You went up.
Yes, we went up as far as the size of the transaction. When I say we, management actually increased the size of the transaction. We're just purely the avenue for you to obtain the financing. When we met with you before, everyone certainly remembers we were looking at a lower dollar amount. We were looking at a shorter term. And since that period in time and talking with city management and looking at trying to address your projects as needed, knowing that you, as Eddie, the city manager, has just stated, that if you are wanting to address those projects today, we were asked to increase the loan amount to look at a $8 million financing that would do more projects than we were looking at before. And we would extend the term. Your sales tax term was extended to 2046. We looked at extending the term to 15 years, lowering the payment. The interest rate that we discussed at the last meeting on the $5 million 10-year term was a rate provided to us by F&M Bank at a 4.95%. If you were to extend that term to 15 years, just like any financing, the longer the term, typically the higher the interest rate. So in working and discussing this with F&M Bank, which is the only bank that we spoke with, we also talked with RCB, Rogers County Bank out of Claremore. They have multiple branches throughout the state. They're the only 2 banks that look at giving you the option to prepay. We discussed this at the last meeting. Nobody knows, and I don't know how much less I know now since the last meeting, what's going to happen with interest rates. But there were only 2 banks that we have had bid on transactions over the last probably year that offer a very generous prepayment option, with F&M offering the most generous prepayment option, which is you could decide to pay this off in 6 months and they would not charge you a penalty. And they do that on all their loans. But they were aggressive in that they had given us a 5.25% rate a couple of weeks back after we had asked for them to look at a 15-year term. And although the market's kind of gone up after that point in time, it's tailed off a little bit the last day and a couple days. They said they would still they would keep their 5.25%. And once again, you could prepay this. You can prepay this anytime you want, in part or in whole. And what's key in part,
That's good.
is that you could decide as you look at each 6-month payment period. And I posed this to Barry. I said, "What would that be okay to prepay every year or every payment?" And he said that we would just take it off the top. And so, in talking about this scenario with the city manager, I think this is almost a revisit every 6 months and see where you're at, where the market is, but also what your sales tax collections are, because Certainly, you want to have the ability, as part of your budget process, is if you have collections that are more than a very conservative projection that we provided going forward, you could pay down on this as you please to save interest. And this is the only bank that we know of that actually allows for you to do this at this dollar amount. And it's great that they're a local bank, but they purchase transactions throughout the state. And so that's where we're at from a financials perspective. But we would be glad to answer any questions that you have or that you may have of your city manager.
That's a pretty
tandem.
exciting option that gives opportunity. I think that's a good addition.
Mayor, something I'd like to throw in there. The reason we came back with the $8 million figure was this would allow us to, one, get started on the water towers and the booster pump station without using the cash in the bank. So it leaves the CIP cash in bank for Owen Field, the other commitments which have already been detailed, and then as well, there's a little over $1 million that we can utilize towards the pool and or aquatic feature. So the cash in the bank we'll use on those projects. These financed funds will allow us to move forward, get those other 3 projects done. And something that's important to note, when Kim and I first started discussing this, we wanted to keep that annual debt service under $1 million a year. Well, that was quite the tall order. Mr. Wolf has helped us get there. Our annual debt service, the highest it ever gets, is under $1.1 million a year. So on the low year, the first full year of CIP sales tax collections, we collected $1.2 million. The high year, we collected almost 1.8. So this is still extremely conservative as to what we could be asking for. And John, as well as the department heads, can attest to this. I am not going to do anything that I think is even remotely risky, especially not as it relates to this sales tax and these projects that we've put out before the public. So, Kim, if you have anything to add, we've discussed, we've gone over this. We've gone over this with Mr. Wolf, and we're at a point now where these projects can move forward. We keep our annual debt service under that threshold in which we've discussed. The interest rate is a little higher, and so we've lost that positive arbitrage that we were previously talking about. But as Mr. Wolf said, the rates have fluctuated many times since that special meeting in April. So that was the reason for the delay and why you didn't see it at your regular meeting, your regular second meeting in April, and that's why we're here tonight.
What's the monthly service on this type of loan?
The monthly debt service?
Yes.
Well,
Have to have a book.
Brian, I would have actually thrown out a number, but I think the key page is to look at page 5, which is taking your existing 2 notes that you have that you're using this sales tax for, that we just had extended to 2046. If you look at the final column on page 5, or the last 2 columns, the existing debt you see is about $516,000 a year, or about $255,000 to $260,000 every 6 months. And so what we were looking at is if we add this debt to the existing debt and try to keep the future debt payments level, it's about $1,070,000 a year. It was our target, and that's what Eddie was addressing. We're going to try to keep under $1.1 million, and at this rate, this term, we're there at $1,070,000 a year. that takes you out through 2039, or basically a little under 15 years.
So, and Kim and I, our goal is that at least once a year, probably during the budget season, we'll explore the opportunity of the city council, the Public Works Authority, making an annual principal payment. So if we do have those really high years and, we're bringing in 1.7 or 1.8 million bucks, we can pay that principal down and hopefully eliminate some years and some interest off this note. And that's one of the best proponents of utilizing a local bank and having the relationships that we do, because you don't get that option anywhere else.
So essentially, for those who say, well, if I decide to, I get a 30-year loan and I start wanting to pay extra principal payments with your mortgage company, your payments remain the same unless you do a full restructuring. In this case, if you look at the last principal amount on page 5, you have $522,000 in a principal payment. If, for instance, you decided to pay a couple $100,000 down on that a year from now, then that is $200,000 times 5.25% less in interest that you'll pay. So you'll basically pay on the back end. You just start paying the last maturity. Everyone may say, well, yeah, of course that's how it works. But for those of you who don't see this every day, that's how it would work. That you would just take it off the back end, and you would pay that much less interest. So. And
Questions from the council? Mr. Wolf?
yes.
Ready? No?
I do need to point out one thing. There are two different engagement letters that will be approved as a part of this resolution. The first one is for Mr. Wolf's firm, Municipal Finance Services, and the second is for the Player Finance Law Group. So you've got two versions of that agreement. You've got one that includes local counsel, Wheeler and Associates, and then you've got one that does not. So your motion will need to approve either with local counsel or without. As is presented, both of them are in your packet. So both have been distributed, you can include it.
Everybody understand that? We have a motion
So moved.
to which
Oh,
option?
which option we want to do first? Which option do we want to do first?
You can make a motion to approve including local counsel or a motion to approve excluding. So
What do y'all want to do? Want to make a motion on that, to include everything?
So you make a motion to approve with local counsel?
That's
Okay,
what
let's
I'm
do
hearing.
that. All right, I make a motion to approve the local council then.
With local counsel, costs included.
Correct.
And that's on page 2.
2.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Any other discussion?
I think we've discussed it to death quite a bit.
Okay.
Then well
All
explained.
right. Submit your votes then. We're voting on the option that includes the local council
Correct.
expenditure. Okay, submit your votes.
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
All votes strength.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then from all those present to approve resolution number 2024-08, including local legal expenditure. That is the last item on our Public Works Authority, and I adjourn our Public Works Authority, and I open our City Council May 7th. The second item on our City Council agenda is the consent agenda, items A, B, and C. A is the approval of the special City Council minutes of April 11th. B is the approval of City Council minutes of April 16th. And C is the approval of payment to ATG Construction for pay application number 1, which is $12,910 for CDBG window replacement project. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those council present, then to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C. Item number 3, items removed from the consent agenda, there were none. Item number 4, resolution number 2024-09, approving the incurrence of indebtedness by the Guthrie Public Works Authority, continuation of the discussion that we just had concerning the $8 million financing. Is there any other discussion or questions from the council? Eddie, do you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
No, sir, I do not.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other last minute questions? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to approve resolution number 2024-09, the indebtedness of the Guthrie Public Works Authority up to $8 million. Item number 5 is retail strategies presentation, discussion presentation concerning the future economic development strategies for the city of Guthrie.
Yes, I'm just going to do a short introduction. Clay Craft with Retail Strategies is going to come up and discuss some economic development efforts for Guthrie.
Okay, Clay, it's all yours.
Thank you, Shonda. Yeah. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Eddie, thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate the hospitality you've shown me so far and enjoyed the beautiful weather today. So. All right. Great on topic tonight. Sales tax is what we're talking about. And this is what I'm talking about tonight. I don't have to explain to this audience how important sales tax is to cities in Oklahoma. It is not table stakes. If you are a municipality in Oklahoma and you are not doing efforts towards proactively recruiting retail, you are going to get left behind. We are a Birmingham-based Alabama company, Retail Strategies, formed in 2011. My name is Clay Craft. I'm the Vice President of Client Services for Retail Strategies. Been with the company 10 years. Consider Oklahoma my second home. I spend probably 20 weeks out of every year in the state working with our partners all across the state. Really our product is pretty simple. We are a network-based relationship company. We have partnerships with retailers, with cities, and we are there to connect the dots. We're an industry leader with ICSC. We have our Lacey Visa, Vice President of our company, is on the Board of Trustees. The only public sector on the Board of Trustees. We attend trade shows all across the country every year on behalf of our municipalities. Experience in Oklahoma, we've had 26 partnerships across the state, from retail recruitment to downtown strategies to retail academy. And tonight, I've been asked to talk to you about 2 of our service lines, very distinct service lines. We'll go through retail recruitment first, and then we'll talk about downtown strategies second. But you can see the bottom line impact we've had to the state. Of those 26 partners, the economic impact is $2.28 million that we've produced on an annual revenue basis to those municipalities from the retailers that we have recruited over the last 11 years. A total of 739 jobs. So certainly, what we do is economic development. Our process is we want to come in and be an extension of your city hall. Be a part of your team. So I'm going to quickly take you through how we get to that. So we structured this as a 3-year partnership. The typical deal for a national retailer takes 18 to 36 months. So during that first year, our discovery phase, we're going to have 3 months of really in-depth analysis on your market. You may be very familiar with your demographics, but it's very important for my team to get entrenched. What we want to do is we want to understand your market through the eyes of retailers. You probably think of your cities, Guthrie, Oklahoma, population roughly 11,000 or so. But what we want to get down to and what makes the market move for retailers is separating your consumers from your constituents. A lot of that's through mobile data analysis, which I'll show you a little glimpse of tonight. But we're going to talk about custom trade area, gap analysis, peer analysis tool. So just a quick back of the math, back of the napkin numbers look here. We'll do a full deep dive analysis, but based on the main retail drivers in your market, I've got your custom trade area pegged at roughly a 31,000 population. So that is separating your constituents at 11,000 to your consumers, 31,000. Your Walmart has actually got a trade area by itself of 50,000. But we want to dig down and find what that core consumer is. The average age of those consumers is 39 years old, and the average growth rate is 2% over the next 5 years. Very strong growth rate for the region. A big part of our front-end analysis is this mobility data. I've got the full suite of data on all your national retailers. Some of your, I would say based on the size of your municipality, a lot of your retailers are punching above their weight. They're doing really good sales volumes. You look at that compared to the gap numbers that I'm about to show you, you can see there's a compelling story to tell because your trade area that you were selling to is so large and so vast. You don't have enough retailers to keep up with the demand, and really the foot traffic numbers prove that. From a trade area standpoint, you're leaking about $169 million a year in potential sales to capture. Some specific categories to look at here, you can see grocery. You got a $39 million leakage in grocery itself. Restaurants, $9 million. I think there's some bigger gaps to fill than the $9 million, and the numbers don't always tell the tale of the tape. In general merchandise at $33 million. A peer analysis, this is just a slide example, but a sample. This is a tool that we've created on our own. So what we would do through this process is we would compare the city of Guthrie to other communities in the region. What we're trying to look at is we're trying to find your demographic peers based on your population, your household income, your growth rate, and your market supply. From there, we are able to tell how many retailers are in each one of those peer communities, and it allows us to pitch your market in a little bit different light than most retailers are accustomed to. Kind of our secret sauce is we're going to come in and treat your market as a shopping center. So everybody in our industry is either tied to a specific property or a specific tenant. We come in and say the city boundary of Guthrie, Oklahoma is now our shopping center. We really don't care where you land in the market. We just want you to come into the market. So that allows us to work with every single one of your property owners and allows us to work with every single retailer. Where the rubber meets the road really for us, and I've spent a good portion of my day today, is just driving the market, taking inventory of properties with anticipation that we could hopefully move forward in a partnership. We kind of have the ball rolling on that standpoint. I've been a commercial real estate practitioner for the last 10 years myself. I've done transactions all across the state, including in Guthrie, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you may not be familiar with it, but there's the service called LoopNet. It's the Zillow equivalent of commercial real estate. So when you look at Guthrie's properties on LoopNet, you can see there's 2 properties for lease. You've got one vacancy in a shopping center, and you've got a downtown vacancy listed. But from a national perspective, you really don't have anything that's out there visible to retailers, brokers, and developers that are looking for deals. You look on Craigslist at your for sale properties. We've got 2 properties that are listed for sale. Both are fully vacant. One's a fully occupied shopping center and a net lease Walgreens. So really, what you're putting forth into the world that outsiders can see is not a lot of inventory. So part of our process is going to be coming in, and like I said, I've already got the ball rolling today, is taking inventory of any potential property that has national retail potential in your market. So that could be a ground-up development site, that could be a redevelopment site, that could be a local store that maybe it's the rundown tire shop on the best corner in town that we might be able to provide a kind of a golden parachute for that small business owner to move on to some other things and bring in national retail. I would say a 4% sales tax collection rate. The lowest, national restaurant's doing about $1 million a year. Chick-fil-A is now averaging $9 million per year. So, if you look at the sales tax collection, $1 million a year, restaurant, that's bringing in $40,000 to your bottom line. Following up things like the fire and the police, those are paid for by sales tax. So what we're here to do is build those building blocks for the national retail and ultimately affects your bottom line. These are just a couple of the properties that I inventory, and this is before we came to the market. These are all representatives of potential properties that we think have potential for national retail. The next step in this process during our discovery phase would be a void analysis. And really, it's finding every retailer that is growing in the region that is not in your market. And we're not just here to give you a plan. We're here to actually put the plan into action. So at the end of our 90-day discovery period, we're going to give you a retail recruitment plan that's going to kind of lay out the framework for the partnership. But we have a dedicated team and a dedicated staff that takes this plan and implements it on your behalf. So no one from the city side has to lift a finger. We're doing this completely on our own. We're making phone calls, emails, trade show visits to these retailers, trying to pitch your market in the best light, showing them actual real estate opportunities. A quick look at the deliverables. Within that first 60 days, we're going to give you a marketing guide that can be used by your staff. We use it to, let's say we're pitching a property that's not listed, that's potentially for sale. We'll send this market guide that gives the retailers kind of a snapshot of your market. That discovery phase I mentioned, 90 days in, will encapsulate our plan and then the market analysis. But really going forward is where the rubber really meets the road. So we use a project management tool called Basecamp. It's just our online portal to keep all of our salient conversations and documents for the partnership. And then on a quarterly basis, we're going to be presenting to you quarterly business reviews. So, we have a format where we can give you a redacted version that can be shared with council. It's very important that we stay in front of you and keep you informed of every single thing we're doing. And we'll be in the market every single year. If we were to move forward with the partnership, our real estate team will come back into the market within the first 60 days, meet with all of you, talk about some big visions, some plans, and complete that real estate assessment. We're very busy right now gearing up for our trade show in Las Vegas. It's the biggest real estate trade show in the world. About 40,000 attendees will be there this year. It happens at the end of this month. But we attend trade shows all across the country. The big shows for Guthrie is going to be the Red River State Show that's in January and the ICSC show that's coming up. This is your dedicated team. Of anything else, this is what I'm most proud of. We maintain a very strict client to staff ratio of 5-to-1. We've got 48 dedicated employees on our retail strategy staff. I manage our recruitment team. Your dedicated team would be Cam South, Portfolio Director, Jack Blankenship, Retail Recruitment Coordinator, and Ashton Rosen, Communication Coordinator. So you're going to have 3 dedicated staff members just working on your community, and you've got a full marketing team behind that. So it's very important for us to stay staffed up so we can give you the looks and the dedication that you need. So just to recap, 200 years of collective experience within our office. We were actually started from a real estate brokerage and development company. Again, we're going to act as your broker. We're not going to be doing transactions. We collect a flat fee. There's no incentive to, we're not getting paid by the retailers or asking for any bonus on top of that. It's just a flat fee. If we have 20 wins in a year, you're not on the hook for any additional. We want to keep that momentum going. Let's talk a little bit about client success that we've had. And I want to start by kind of a little bit of unconventional deal. But this is from our retail specialist side, which is our sister company that Retail Strategies was born of. I actually brought Casey's to Guthrie. They opened up in last year. We did that transaction in 2022. So with that, I spent a year marketing this property, working with this property owner. It's a connection we have from Oklahoma City, but got very entrenched and very in the weeds of everything Guthrie, learned a lot about it. We initially thought this was going to be a retrofit into a national restaurant use. But we had some encumbrances by an adjacent property owner. But with that, we're coming into it with a lot of experience in Guthrie and a lot of quick notes that I can pick up the phone tomorrow and make a lot of calls to some people that had some interest back in the day.
Clay, can you expand on why our store doesn't look like that?
Yeah, your store does not look. Casey's does plan to have a retrofit of that existing store. One of these, every real estate deal has 9 lives, and this one is no different. We took this listing on thinking it was completely free and clear, and so did the property owner. But once we ran a title search, we got contacted by Walmart's attorneys that let us know that the south entrance to this property is encumbered by Walmart. So, therefore, anything Casey's does, and anybody for the rest of eternity on this property will have to get permission from Walmart to do it. So Casey's most likely is just hung up in a procedural approval from Walmart, but they do have plans to retrofit their store to make it the nice new clean version. That was the plan all along. But that's totally aside from what we're doing from a strategy standpoint. It was just happenstance that we did a deal in Guthrie, and just, you know, from the experience learned a lot about your market, which we were very, very pleased with. I want to talk about just a couple partnerships we've had in the region. Stillwater was one of our best partnerships we've had in the state. You know, from that 4-year partnership, we brought Raising Cane's, Sprouts Farmers Market, Chipotle, Jersey Mike's, Five Guys Burgers and Fries, Del Taco, and Sport Clips. You can see the bottom line impact every year. Stillwater's collecting $715,000 in sales tax collection from those retailers, 200 plus jobs, right? That's a big splash even in a market of Stillwater size. Looking at the next one, El Reno, Oklahoma. This was a 7-year partnership for us. You know, in the very early days, we brought in a local concept called The Shed. Starbucks, Chick-fil-A just opened up, Taco Bueno opened and subsequently closed, and we backfilled another user in that, Wendy's and Ace. So you can see the bottom line there, El Reno, $430,000 a year. Kind of bleeding off the edge here, but these are just highlighting a couple other partnerships we've had that we currently have in the state. Rogers County, we brought Aldi, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, both to Claremore, Del City, Oklahoma. We developed a salad and go in that market, brought a Save-A-Lot, Dollar Tree. Durant, first year in that partnership, we brought HCO. Second year, we brought a Starbucks and Broken Boat, brought a Wendy's to a city-owned property there. I know that was a lot. I've got 2 different presentations, so I want to be you know, cognizant of your time. Any questions at all on the retail recruitment standpoint?
Questions? None? Wow.
The bottom line is we're going to inventory every national property, every property in your market that has national retail potential. We're going to run a void analysis on every single retailer that is growing in the region, and we're going to make outreach to every single one of those retailers, and we're going to report back to you what we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. A lot of times, some of the best deals we've had was, you know, coming back to the city and saying, hey, X retailer doesn't want to be here because of this. And sometimes it's conditions on the ground that were prohibitive of that, you know, from that retailer from opening the market. So a lot of times we can work together as a public-private partnership to kind of figure some of those things out. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about that being very, you know, pleasantly persistent and staying on top of these retailers. And, you know, I know if you could stick with us for 3 years, you will see a big impact to your bottom line.
I didn't see Buc-ee's on your list here.
Not yet. Don't worry. We were. They're coming. They're coming. They're doing a deal. They're doing deals in a lot of places that we didn't think they would ever go to. So I think it's just a matter of time. So
Okay. Hopefully it's within the next 3 years then.
there you go. All right. I'm going to make a very hard pivot into a different service line. Again, I was asked to give presentations on 2 different service lines. This is our downtown strategies partnership. So this is very anti-national retail. So everything I just said, forget about that for a second, and bear with me as we pivot into a very different standpoint. Because you have such a beautiful downtown, I really enjoyed my time in the market today. Spent some time in 2022 when we first visited, but you know. What do we want from downtown? I think every one of you could kind of close your eyes and envision that picturesque, perfect downtown. And what does it look like, right? You've got 200 properties that are on the historic registry. Your downtown is a historic landmark. It's the original state capital. The architecture in Guthrie, Oklahoma is some of the most beautiful architecture I've ever seen in any downtown I've ever been to. You've got a lot of great things happening. I'm not proposing that we're going to come in here and have this big catalyst and reinvent the wheel. I think there's small changes that need to be made in Guthrie, and that's where our downtown team comes in. So, you know, some of the things we want historic buildings restored to their former glory. I think a lot of that's happened. I think there's some room for improvement there. Storefronts that are filled with thriving businesses. You've got a lot of great boutiques and a lot of great businesses downtown. Vibrant sidewalks, beautiful streetscapes. A lot of these things are certainly happening. You know, but if we're thinking about, okay, what do we need to do next? Are we doing anything at all for downtown? That might be the first question, or is most of it happening organic? If it's happened organically, kudos to you, because again, it is a beautiful downtown. But traditionally, we think about, okay, well, we want all those things in our downtown. We might not have them. So naturally, we are conditioned to, okay, we need a plan. The typical, plan that a city goes through is either a comprehensive plan or a master plan. Those are typically 100 to 200 page documents. They're $100,000 to $200,000 in cost. And you end up with this 200-page document that literally tells you everything that you could do in your market. What's the problem with that? Well, you're kind of left stuck with, what do we do next? And that's a very common story that we hear from municipalities, that even if they think they have the capacity and bandwidth to do it, a lot of times you're just left with, where to start. And that's where we come in. So we are here to guide you through a step-by-step. So the difference between a comprehensive plan and our plan is comprehensive plan, think 20 years down the road. We want to create a 5-year vision for your downtown. And that involves very small steps. See the footprints here? It's literally 1 foot in front of the other. So instead of 200 recommendations, we're going to come in and make 30 to 40 recommendations in about a 50-page deliverable. That is low to no cost actionable items that you can start working on literally the day you get them. And that is important to us because so many times these strategic plans and comprehensive plans just sit on they sit on a bookshelf in City Hall and nobody really knows where to even start. So think of our plan as a bite-sized plan. I mentioned the 5-year time frame. We're going to tell you what you should do. So we're going to give you 30 to 40 recommendations. And within that first year, you're going to work with our implementation team to select 5 that we together are going to guide you through. So of those 40 recommendations, we're going to move forward in the first year with 5. Over the course of a 3-year partnership, we're going to select 5 more every single year that are these small incremental changes. They're built around the Main Streets principles for downtown development. So our process is going to be discovery, strategic action plan, and implementation. So the first part of discovery is the cornerstone here is the strategic visioning workshop. This is where our downtown team is going to come to Guthrie. They're going to spend time with our core downtown team. They're going to do a market walk. And then most importantly, I think for Guthrie is going to be the stakeholders meeting. And this is all interested parties, all concerned parties, all gather, property owners, business owners, all gather under one roof, share ideas. We're going to take that feedback and we're going to package it up in a way that we can move forward. If you're working off a comprehensive plan, which I'm not quite sure if you are or not, but we're going to take everything that you've done here to this point and really distill it down into ways that can be moved forward. And we're going to add our own plans to it. The next step is going to be the strategic action plan. And again, this is that 30 to 40, recommendations. The 4 pillars of Main Street are policy administration, design, tourism and promotion, economic vitality. So within those 4 pillars, there's a lot of recommendations that we could potentially make. We've got a lot of clients that we work with all across the country that we've got a lot of great case studies to pull on, and we've got some successes in very similar situations that downtown Guthrie is up against right now. Our downtown practitioners have been in your shoes. Jen Gregory was the Main Street Director for downtown Starkville, Mississippi. I don't know if you've been to Starkville, Mississippi, but they have a beautiful, vibrant downtown, and it's all because of Jen. She took the same principles that she is applying with our downtown strategies product, and she implemented it 10 years ago. And Starkville, Mississippi is a completely different town now because of it. Here's our partnerships that really span the country. Again, you can see every one of these partnerships we are building and adding to our repertoire of case studies and recommendations. So we've worked with about 120 downtowns across the country over the last 4 years. And we're excited about the next leg up. This is just kind of a breakdown of so you can see the differences between our plan and traditional plan. Again, I mentioned the long-term visioning. We're going to break this down into bite-sized bits. And really within the first 9 months, you're going to have your actionable strategy. We're going to help you build your local action teams. And we're literally going to hold their hands through this, help them form policy. We've got templates to basically anything you would want to happen in downtown. We've got a template and a strategy that we will walk your team through implementing. A couple case studies I want to point out. Snyder, Texas, one of our first partnerships. They had a very big problem with vacancies in their downtown. They had a couple property owners that were just very unmotivated to really do anything. And it was a big problem. We came in and helped them create a vacant property registration ordinance, which basically, created a carrot and stick situation for those property owners that incentivized them to really, get off their laurels and go into action. It's been very successful in Snyder, Texas, and several other cities we've worked with. Portales, New Mexico, same type of situation. But theirs was very heavily focused on tourism, which I know you are known for your tourism element. It sounds like you've got a lot of great events that are happening on the weekends, and maybe not so much at night. And we got also some strategies to activate your downtown at night too. So, just a couple of the case studies we worked with across the country. Here's kind of the outlay for our strategic downtown strategies partnership. $45,000 a year. In that first year, that's where we're going to do the strategic visioning workshop around the 3-month mark, strategic action plan around the 6 to 9 month mark, and then we spend that back half of the 3 months putting that plan into place with your team. Beyond that, it reduces to $25,000 because we're just taking that same plan and we're putting new items into motion. So we're going to take 4 to 5 new strategies that were originally formed in that first year, and we're going to help your team put those into motion. I know that was a lot. Thank you for bearing with me. Probably talked so much that you don't have any questions, but happy to answer any questions or thoughts, comments, or concerns.
I like to see in consultants, I like to see the expenditure that the customer is paying
Yes.
tied to outcomes, not just process.
Sure.
I'm hearing a lot of process.
Sure.
Have you ever entertained a partnership where, in fact, the cost to the customer is reflected in some metric, economic development metric, whether it's sales tax or whatever it is?
Success fee partnerships.
Have you ever entertained anything like that? And you're talking fixed price here.
Yes. So the one thing that I can guarantee you, and I will never stand up in front of any city council and guarantee success. I just can't do it. There's a lot of things that are out of our control. What I can promise you is effort, and I can promise you will know every single thing that we did, and I can promise you that you'll be better with us than without us. We don't do success fee partnerships. It's it creates situations that are out of our control because, again, the typical retail deal, we're talking national retail deals, we're pivoting back to retail recruitment, that's 18 to 36 month process. We've done a few success fee partnerships, but that is kind of on the tail end of a long-standing partnerships, and we're just trying to, potentially unwind some deals that we started maybe the previous 2 years. So.
Okay, thanks, Clay.
So what is the total cost?
For retail recruitment, it's $45,000 a year.
Well, I know that, but I'm talking on all of it.
So
you have 2 different plans, and
they're both $45,000 in the first year. You don't have to do both. I was just asked.
So 90 grand first year, 50 second, and third.
Correct. If you were to go forward with both partnerships, we do have municipalities that do both service lines. But you certainly they're not a package deal. You could just do downtown, or you could just do recruitment. So yeah.
I'd give you enough time to get Buc-ee's here.
Hey, I'll start to work tomorrow if you want me to.
Well, we need both of these, is what it feels like. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So what if, for whatever reason, we were going, this was a terrible decision?
Yeah.
Seriously, it happens
sure.
in contracts.
Absolutely.
What's the out clause?
In our retail recruitment contract, we've got a 6A clause that you can get out anytime for any reason. As long as we don't default, you can get out anytime for any reason. So if we default, we'll pay your money back.
And what about the other one?
The other one, we don't refund the money. But if we default on our contract, which we've never done, and I can stand here and firmly promise you that we would not. But no, our contracts are scheduled as 3-year partnerships because I want to go into the front end saying if we're going to partner with Guthrie, I want it to be a 3-year deal. I want us to all have be on that same page. Now, if you're just extremely disappointed with our effort, which I promise you won't be, you can opt out at the end of that first year. But I want the mindset to be, if there was any inclination that this was just a 1-year partnership, I would say save the taxpayers money because I can promise you we cannot, even if I started working today, I cannot have a retailer open within 12 months. It's just, there's so many things, the real estate committee, there's so many processes that retailers have to get through that I can just guarantee you we will not have a retailer open in the first year. But I can guarantee you, you'll know where you stand with basically every prospect that is a fit for this size market.
Would you go over the cities you spoke of over dinner that you're in partnership right now in this area?
In the
state?
Yeah, in the state, Del City, Oklahoma, they've been our partner since the beginning. El Reno, Oklahoma, Edmond was our very first client. Broken Bow, Durant, Woodward, Guyman, Grove,
Stillwater.
Thank you, Stillwater, Rogers County,
And today, Tulsa.
and Tulsa. Yeah, that's a very this week partnership. That's our largest partnership in the country. We've got a retail recruitment partnership with Tulsa. There's more I'm missing. 26 total partnerships across the state, but we are well heeled in the state of Oklahoma and got a great track record and a lot of success. So.
Any other questions? No. This is just presenting what product.
That's right.
Correct.
The product is, the partnership is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Mayor and Council, if you have any questions or if there's anything further, Clay's going to hang around after the meeting. Anybody would like to visit with him, either from the public or from the council, he's here for that. Again, this was informational purposes only. We're not asking for any action tonight. But we've been having some conversations, and Clay, as they were closing the transaction on Casey's, we had a conversation and look forward to a potential partnership. So thank you, Clay.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Clay. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay.
Item number 6, ordinance number 3409, rezone property at 120 West Lakewood Drive, application 24-003. Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. As you indicated, this is over south of town off of West Lakewood Drive at the corner of South Sooner and Lakewood. To the west is Camp Drive. It's a request to go to an R2 PUD. There's two properties that are included with this. There's a 2.3 acre property and a 0.7 acre property. The applicant is wanting to put a home on the existing property that already has a home. It's zoned R1. And then they were looking to put a similar home on the other property. So instead of going through a straight R2 rezone, which would allow for 2 houses on one property, but not having any control mechanism, I recommended that we go through the PUD process so we can put some controls on it. So down the road, somebody can't develop, 3 acres with an apartment complex type of thing. The other part of this is the request is for manufactured home, which by our code requires a special use permit. So again, since we were having to go through the same process for both, we lumped it all together into one process into the PUD. You have the staff report, and you also have the pictures of the homes that were provided in that, so I'm not really going to go over that. There was one letter of objection that was submitted, which again was also in the packet that was provided to you. The Planning Commission did recommend approval 4-0 of the planned unit development to allow for the planned unit development be limited to the total of 3 housing units. The two proposed homes are allowed to be manufactured homes as shown in the application. The Planning Commission added a condition, or added to that condition, that the homes must be on a permanent foundation, and any replacement of the homes in the future can only be replaced with new homes. And then the approval allows for 2 units on the 2.3 acre parcel, and then the last one is just the standard provisions if there were to be any changes to the PUD itself. So with that, I'll give it back to the City Council if you have any questions. If not, the applicant is here, and I think there are some other, yes, sir.
Under the section 11.2 of the Guthrie zoning code relating to planned unit developments, item 5, the approval will be beneficial, the approval will have a beneficial effect on the area that could not be achieved under conventional development. Explain, please.
The what?
The approval.
No, I know that, but what was, I didn't catch it.
Explain that. How's it achieved, how's it a better effect than achieved under conventional development?
That's where a lot of times when we have exceptions, in this case, there wasn't any exceptions to the underlying code provisions. We went through the PUD process, so it would be limited to essentially the number of homes that could be put on
So
there.
this is referring to the PUD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it basically is talking, again, in general, when you have something that traditionally can't be accomplished through the zoning code, we have a PUD process, which at least gives an avenue to hopefully be able to have something reviewed and possibly approved.
Okay, and you said the applicant is here. I know I
Yes.
have 3 individuals that would like to speak. Would the applicant like to speak first? No? Okay, all right.
Dan, you only had one letter not wanting this, because I've got multiple emails on this.
Yeah, that's all that I
I'm surprised you only
received.
got
Even at the planning commission, the only thing was the letter that was sent. There were others at the planning commission, but they were in support of the applicant.
Okay, so there were supporters of the applicant at planning.
Yeah, they didn't speak, but they were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But again, the only phone calls or emails or any letters I got was again, the one that was provided to you.
Okay.
And the planning commission voted?
4-0.
Oral
Correct.
approval.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and in no particular order, just the way that I picked them up from the table. These are individuals that requested to speak on this issue. Bonnie Terrell?
Thank you, Mayor Gentling and council members. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank the council members that responded to my email. And I really appreciate that because it's the first time I've ever done this. And I really did appreciate and get responses from several. Thank you. I live at 809 West Lakewood Drive. I don't understand this. I don't understand what he just said. I don't understand except this. 2 modular homes constitute a mobile home park or a subdivision. That's my research, and I may be wrong. So why I believe this is a bad idea is to have an entrance to a beautiful city like Guthrie with such a tourism-based economy, to have people coming in on Sooner Road and seeing mobile homes, modular homes, affordable housing. I don't know what you call it, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but those are the way I recognize them. I talked with the owners of the people, one of the people that is asking to do this, because I wasn't sure they were the ones that were doing it when I was talking to neighbors about how they felt about it. And they said that they want their 81-year-old mother to live in one of these modular homes. I don't know what the other property is intended for. My question is, what happens after she's gone? Does this turn into a trailer park to be rented out? I just don't understand it. We've had this attempt before, previous attempts to put modular homes in a development in our community, and it's been denied. Lee Jackson was the person that applied for this, and it didn't happen. And the final thing that I'd like to say is, why is it, let me rephrase it. I understand that the covenant of the law is that only 300 feet from the proposed property is who has to be notified, which would include Kelly Watson, who lives to the north of this property where they want to put these modular homes. And if it wasn't for him and I knew him, I would not even know about this. 300 feet doesn't include much. One property, Mr. Watson, who I'm sure is the one that sent the letter that he just referred to. I would like to hand out, if I may, letters from neighbors that I got and signatures, if I may, that are opposed to this, and that's all I have to say. Thank you. If you take one and pass them on, thank you very much.
Dan, you want to clarify the requirement to notify surrounding residences
Yeah, that's what
property owners?
our zoning code requires, and that's the minimum requirements by state law. Any municipality has the ability to create a, further, so if we wanted to amend our ordinances to say 500 feet or, whatever the mechanism may be, we can always do that. But the minimum that's required by our current ordinances is 300.
Well, so 300 in a residential neighborhood is sufficient, I believe. But when you're talking about multiple acres, it may not be.
I don't disagree at all, and like I
And
said,
that's an
that could be
issue I
something we could look at down the road. In other places that I've worked, it's been 300 feet plus every property that touches within that. Yeah, that's contingent. So that's something we can look at down the
And
road.
that's driven by state law.
Yeah, well, you're right, yeah, because
minimum.
again, the minimum, that's correct. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Mr. Mitchell? That may answer part of the question that you said in your email today.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Mark Mitchell, and the property we're opposing at 120 Lakewood, as Ms. Terrell had told us before, this came up with Lee Jackson. The addresses were 318 and 326 Lakewood. This was denied. I stayed out here in front of the group. My property is at 914 Foster Road, and which is around the U-shape from that area. That was denied, and we're having the same conversation again. I don't understand why we're having this in that same area. Some of you know me, some of you don't. My father was Kenneth Mitchell, and he did most of the development around Guthrie Lake. Guthrie Lake Edition, 89er Edition, Ridgecrest 1, Ridgecrest 2. My mother lives at 1016 North Shore Drive. All of those have brick and mortar homes on it, and the covenants respect that. We're talking about making Guthrie beautiful. Does anybody think a mobile home park coming in on Sooner would look beautiful? I understand why the applicant is wanting to do this, but I am vehemently opposed to this. I think it will devalue our properties. We have one that Mr. Squires, Clint Squires, is putting probably a $750,000 house right off of Lakewood and Foster. And I know he will squawk at this too. So in my opinion, this needs to be denied. A brick and mortar, I have no problem with. But a mobile home, manufactured home, there is no increase or appreciate in value. They decrease in value. And the good question that Ms. Terrell had, what happens after the property's gone? Is somebody gonna scrape? No, it's gonna be a rental. And I don't think that we need that, making Guthrie beautiful. Any questions?
Any questions from the council? Mr. Mitchell?
Didn't think we were allowed to discuss with them.
No, this is not.
We can. They're responding to
because of the
a
agenda.
particular agenda item.
Okay, now I don't have any questions.
So have you talked to surrounding neighbors
Yep,
about this?
absolutely. Yes.
Like she has? and-
Yes, 100%.
And are you getting, what kind of feedback are you getting?
Negative.
Huh?
Negative feedback.
Seems like I remember the
well,
other
problem-
one that came up years
yeah,
back.
the problem happened is only the 300 feet.
Right.
So we have to get
I get
notification
it, trust me.
from everybody else, or it's we find out at the last minute. That's why I'm here, to protect my investment. And I don't think anybody bought anything to see a decline in value.
No.
And when we have this, and especially on a hard corner, where you drive by it, if it was tucked back, you couldn't see it, that's probably a different issue, but it's a hard corner where you can see it. And Sooner, I don't know what the vehicle count is on that, but that's a gateway into Guthrie. So I oppose it.
Any other questions?
Nobody said they liked it that you talked to?
No, none. None. And I probably have talked to at least 15 of my neighbors. And a lot of them are here today. Again, what are you trying to promote here in Guthrie? Are you trying to promote a mobile home park, or are you trying to promote a beautiful home? So that's where I'm coming from. Okay, thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Mitchell. Mr. Watson?
Hello, my name's Wade Watson. I live 816 Foster
You don't have to
Drive.
give, you don't have to give your address anymore.
Okay. All right. Anyway, my son lives just north of this area.
Whoops. Nice ringtone.
What did I do?
It's your phone. It's your phone.
My son lives just north of this area, and
Still your phone.
what's going on? My phone. I don't hear well.
I think it's your son.
My son. Anyway, his property is 330 by 660, 5 acres. Well, he's the only one north of there that would even get the note at 300 feet, because he's 330. So no one north of him gets a letter. And I suppose that this property we're talking about, it's got to be 660 long too. So, and maybe 2 houses down that road gets a letter, and there's nothing across the street either way. So there's only 3 or 4 houses that's even going to get a letter. But like Dan said, that's all he has to do. And I don't think that's really right. Another thing, I talked to Dan for about 30 minutes at least on the phone, and he was telling me that, well, they're more lenient out in the southern part of Logan County, and why out south of Liberty Lake, there's some trailers they let them get in out there. Well, my son used to live out there, and he had meth heads on both sides of him. I swear they were, and they stole him blind, and he couldn't get any help. The police came out and they said, well, I mean, his place looked better than the one. They said, well, what do you do that you get enough money to afford all this? He just had a regular job for OG&E, and wouldn't help him at all. They said, well, if I don't see it, I can't do nothing about it. Well, if you don't see it, if the police see it, they're gonna do something. If they don't see it, I guess there's no sense of calling them. But anyway, he moved out of there. He had to. It was terrible over there. And anybody want to go out there and look, it don't really look good, but it's not right on the corner, as Mark said. It's stuck back. But I think they really should change the law about the 300 feet. Really, that's, other than if my son hadn't gotten it, no one else would have even known about this. And I think that's about all I need to say about it.
Any questions?
Yeah, so I
Mr. Watson?
guess, my question is to all of you. You didn't show up at the planning commission because you didn't receive notice. And so you weren't given so your complaint is that you didn't feel that you were given the opportunity to be heard on this. Is that?
Twofold.
Right.
Twofold. One is that we weren't
There's no
notified.
question.
Two
Right.
is the type of manufacturing that's going in. Manufactured home. Brick and mortar, I don't think any of us would have a problem with. But a mobile home on a pad, yes.
But the question is, you didn't know that was happening at planning?
Because none were notified because they're 300 feet.
I looked up on the computer and it said the difference between a mobile home and a manufactured home was in 1974. The government cracked down on the way they make them, and they had to do better plumbing, better electric. But however you get it there, it's still a movable home. I mean, maybe you don't put it on wheels, maybe you put it on the back of a truck. But one way or the other, it's still a mobile home, or if a tornado comes along. Anyway.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
I'm
Watson.
against it. I live out there, I'm against it. There's some beautiful houses going up out there. There really are.
Thank you. Thank you. Is the applicant here? Would you like to speak? Yes. Just identify yourself and then,
Mary Ann Loomis.
why don't you pull the microphone down a little bit? There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
I brought pictures last time that he showed. It's a beautiful, beautiful home. It may be a manufactured home, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's nothing cheap about it. And if you drive around that horseshoe, it's probably within the top 5 is the way it looks. We paid extra to have, instead of 2x4s, it has 2x6s. It's grounded just like a a regular home. I mean, they've come a long way. Even Brent came out and found us at the planning committee and told us how much better they are now. And told us that, you know, I'm just amazed at
Well,
what
that
I'm
picture,
hearing.
there has been a picture that was included in the packet that all the council has. Unfortunately, I don't believe that that has been shared with other members of your community.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly got a copy.
Would
Okay.
you like me to?
Or Watson, Mr. Watson.
Mr. Watson did? You saw the picture of what's
Kelly did.
proposed?
Dan,
No?
Kelly did.
Dan, is that it?
It'll be an attribute to the community, really, because it's a beautiful home.
Okay, all right,
And my husband wants to say something.
okay.
I'm Larry Loomis, and what we were trying to do is have a family unit. My wife and I are getting up in our years. Hopefully, we got a few more good ones, but our health is going to fail. So what we was trying to do is if we had these two houses on the property, we'd have two daughters and a granddaughter just a few steps away to help us. And we'd be closer to everything. The house will be anchored down in several places. There's straps that holds it down. If that thing goes, a lot of the houses will go. So we were just trying to have a family unit. When my wife and I are gone, the one daughter gets the house. There's not going to be other people coming in. It's not going to be a mobile home park or anything like that. It's going to be a family-only deal.
Gets the house that you're proposing to build, or the house that's there, your residence that's
No,
there?
the ones we were trying to get two for one of the daughter, Mary Ann's daughter, and for Mary Ann and I. The other daughter lives there now, has the house.
So there'll be three total.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
There'll be 3 homes on the property.
Yes, and the house is there now. Her granddaughter has an apartment in the same complex, has been there 15, 18 years, and then there's a big, long shop. It's clear at the back of the property off Lakewood, as far back as you can get. And it's
Incidentally, when Rule Gibson lived there, there was a single wide trailer house. And then the add-on was where your daughter lives now. To the trailer.
She got it from Eldon and Joanne Fillmore.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been there.
But there was a trailer house there. Originally, there was a mobile home on there.
Oh, okay.
And the
Of
house
course, I don't know
was in
that.
addition to that. built
But
on
anyway,
top.
I'm just trying to point out that it would be a family deal, and there's nobody else gonna be coming in there and having a mobile home park. Thank you.
The location of the two proposed manufactured homes in relationship to the existing home, are they to the west?
One
Can
would
you
be
explain
west.
where they are?
Well, there's a gravel driveway that goes into her property, to her house. And we was gonna set the one close to Lakewood, facing Lakewood. The other one would be back up on the, almost the center in the trees.
Okay, so that'd be north then of the existing structure.
Pardon?
North of the existing structure?
No, south. You mean of the house that's there now? No, south.
Mayor, we have a
It's right there,
graphic here on the map.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So have you looked at the cost differential between this and stick construction on the similar type?
Well, the house that we looked at was hoping to purchase, it's 2,063 square feet. And it's, if you build a 2,000 square foot home now, what would it be, 400,000?
I don't know.
I mean, probably 350, 400,000. And this is less than half that. But it's well built. It's not like the trailers years ago.
Where's that manufactured at?
I can't tell you the name, it's in Texas. I can't tell you the name.
Champion. They're the Titan, they're the largest in the United States.
And the zoning request, Dan, would maximum, there could only be 3 structures there.
Yeah, that's correct, because
So
again, that was,
It's not gonna be like, 5 years from now, there's gonna be 10.
no, correct, because again, that's what.
Maximum that can be is 3
Yep.
structures on that 3-acre property.
But it can always be that. Once it's done, it's always can be that.
Yeah, because the one
It
smaller
never has to
property.
come here.
Yeah, the one smaller property will have one, the other one will have the 2. And by the PUD, that's all they can have unless they come back through this process to
Or
ask for more.
split the property up, right?
Well, even if they split the property,
I was for Dan.
right next to it, no.
Not right next to
I
us, in
mean-
proximity of it. There's some
So
right down the
there's a
road.
house
There's some
directly,
pretty serious neighborhoods being built.
North of there on the highway that looks like a manufacturing, is that where Kelly lives? Has a deck on the front of it?
No, because I was trying to think what new construction
There
is down over
There
there.
was a, oh yeah, I know where you're talking about. I've seen the OG truck, yeah.
That's up north of there.
Same on the horseshoe. Same neighbor. And he's wanting to build another house on my property, right next to it, on 920 Foster.
So. Now, the homes that we have models for are not near 2,000 feet either. I was just trying to get an
No, and
idea.
those weren't approved, or basically the program wasn't meant for outside
Right.
the, platted area.
Part of the problem I have is that these people didn't know to go to planning. Had they known to go to planning, we probably might not even be here.
Well, we'd be here no matter what, but
Well,
there
we
might
may
have been
be
a
here no
different
matter
decision.
what, but
Yeah.
it may have been a different planning
Sure,
outcome.
could have been.
Because planning didn't know that anybody opposed this.
Mm-hmm.
Were there people at the planning meeting that opposed it?
No, like I said, none that spoke. The only thing that was received was, again, the letter that you received by Mr. Watson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one that was notified. He was the only.
No, I think we get that.
Other questions?
So the issue is also, with the people here who are against it, is that although this one might be a nicer version of a trailer home, the fact is that if we do rezone it, it can be torn down, and in the future, somebody could put in mobile homes, right?
No, because again, it would have to be a similar house that's there, and one of the conditions is they can't bring a used one in, it would have to be new. Because all of this is tied as part of the approval, so there's no way a mobile home park can exist because the PUD limits the use to the 2 new homes that are there and then 2 houses on the one property.
Let me ask my question in a little bit different way. And I'm asking you because this is the world that you live
Yeah,
in on a
yeah.
day-to-day basis. Where are the manufactured homes in Guthrie city limits?
I mean,
Currently.
they're spread all over. We even have some in our original platted area in that. And there's, of course, modular homes versus manufactured homes. And that modular homes, by definition, usually meet the 1-2 family building code, similar to a stick-built single family. The only difference is they're built off-site.
So
A
let me ask it a little differently then. Are we approving modular homes to be put within city limits currently?
Through this process.
Through this process?
Yes, and we have.
But I
Yeah.
don't remember any that have been put in through this process.
Yeah, we had a couple over on
And I've
Fort.
been here 9 years.
Yeah, off of Forest Road, there's a subdivision over there that's primarily mobile homes, modular homes, so we had a couple of those.
And it came here.
Yeah, it was, I think, a year or 2 ago.
On Forest Hills.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's south of Liberty Lake, that's the place I'm talking about.
yeah,
If my son lived in it, it's
Yeah.
a mess over there.
yeah. Yeah, it's in the city limits.
It's not at all the same as.
I'm not saying it's the same.
No,
I
it's
was
different,
answering
totally
Councilman's
different.
question.
So the difference between a modular home and a manufactured home is that the modular home has to meet all of the criteria as a
Stick-built, yes.
home.
And the other, either a manufactured home or even a mobile home, only has to meet the HUD requirements, the federal requirements in that. And as the gentleman said, you know, there was, back, used to be, I think it was in the 70s, they changed a lot of the requirements and laws because prior to 1974 or whatever it was, there was not so good a construction on those type, but, you know, now it's much different. But that's the difference. And that's why per our code, it has to go through a special use permit or a hearing process. If they were going to build a modular home that met the 1-2 family requirements, they could do it by right. They would still need permission to put 2 on one property because of the fact it's zoned R1 at this point, so you can only have one dwelling unit.
But they could do a lot split.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes.
I mean, they could do a lot split.
Absolutely.
And that's, so I guess that's one of my concerns. So in between my terms on city council, because I'm a lawyer and a professor and I'm paid to talk, the last time anybody wanted to put a mobile home in Guthrie, I am amazed that this chamber is not filled, because they came to me and they said they want to put a mobile home in Guthrie. And what do you think about that? And they, of course, asked me to come and, you know, do what I do, which is talk. Not real good at listening, good at talking. And I opposed the mobile home because I don't think that it keeps in the character. And modular homes, I do think can, because of the design aspect, can keep in the character. However, as you know, there is nobody who is a bigger proponent of affordable housing on this council than me. And so I am sympathetic to the need for affordable housing, which is why I think, you know, we had a breakfast and brought Positively Paseo, and we are building affordable housing. I am sympathetic to the fact that obviously a stick build is going to take longer, but I guess my question to the applicants is, did you consider, I mean, yes, you are not going to get a 2,000 square foot home built, but do you need, given what it is that your family is looking to do you need 2 of those size homes in order to accomplish your goals? Because one of the things that I did, and the gentleman that, in one of the instances that I spoke against in front of city council, he was very upset with me, and I followed him outside and I said, look, there's this group called Positively Paseo that builds affordable housing. This is what they can build. Would you talk to them? And he ended up building a stick-built home. It wasn't as many square feet as the home that he envisioned, but it's a better, you know, in terms of the value that you will get, it will be a better value for you. And you may not be interested in the resale value of the home, but I can guarantee your heirs will, right? Or your heirs and assigns will be more interested in the resale value. And so have you thought about, I mean, and I can get you in contact with Cheryl, and she can talk to you about the kinds of construction that they're doing. Now, you're not going to get 2,000 square feet, right? I mean, but I can show you the developments that Positively Paseo does and the builders that they use, and they're very good about doing this, and that would fit more in with the character of the community that we have. That's, so have you thought about, you know, the fact that, does anybody really need, you know, 4 bedrooms and 3 baths? I don't know. I'm asking you all, is that like a need that you have? Or is this just the fastest and easiest way to accomplish your goal?
Would you please come to the microphone, if you're willing to answer that?
One of the reasons we got one that big is because we have a pool table, and that was the only, we had to get that bigger one to accommodate that. The other house is 1,577. They're both not 2,000.
Okay. I still,
Thank you.
I still think, I mean,
The cost of square foot in Oklahoma is somewhere, and Sean, to stop me if I'm wrong, but somewhere in the $100 to $130 per square foot range. It's not $200 and $300 a square foot. That's a massive custom home on anybody's front. It is. You can have a house built all day long in the $100 a square foot range to $130 if you own the land.
right, yeah,
I'm talking if you own. Dan, you say no, but you can.
I would say the going rate, well, I mean, depending if you know people, the going rate's anywhere between 160 to 170 right now.
That's okay. Well, that's not the research I did in 2 minutes just sitting here. It's all between 100 and 130. So it never brings up 160 plus, ever.
My home in Stillwater where I live.
Custom homes are different. I get that. Okay, I understand that. Custom homes are going to be a lot different.
what is Cheryl's rate? Do you know, Dan, in talking with her? What do
No,
they
I
go?
honestly didn't ask her specifically what she's able to build per square foot. I know it's less, obviously, like you talk, because she can, she has some resources in that financially and that to get her to that point, but offhand, I don't remember.
Other questions? You know, I think there's a number of things, moving pieces here. If anybody read the front page of the newspaper yesterday, talking about affordable housing, right? And it's not just a problem in Guthrie, America. It's a problem throughout our state and country. And how do we approach that? That's one of the challenges that I personally see in this issue. The other challenge that I personally again have in the presentation is modular home, manufactured home. It's not a trailer. It's not the stereotype of what we thought of 30 years ago as a trailer park, which was mentioned 3 or 4 times. The picture that was presented to us in our package is a very nice looking, oh, right there, thank you, is a very nice, attractive building, residential building. We need to acknowledge it for what it is.
And
it's not a trailer park.
And see, I agree with Steve, but where I disagree on this whole thing is that enough people were not notified prior to even going to a planning commission meeting. I know this area, and to say South Side is looser than downtown or any other area, that's just not accurate, okay? And it's not. You live out south. Do you consider it looser than the rest of the community? Not so much. I don't either. We've done a lot out there. I've tried to loosen it up and going through different ordinances with you in multiple meetings as we started doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm for metal buildings going up these days, as you know, and I know that's not what we're talking about here, okay? But not enough people were notified. They just weren't, especially if you only have one that's notified in an entire area. I'm going to make a motion to disapprove it just because of that. That's what I'm going to do.
I think from a parliamentary procedure, you have to make a motion to approve. I don't know that you can make a motion in the negative.
I don't know about that.
But it doesn't matter. You can vote one way or another, even.
I think you can make a motion to the negative.
Right now, we have a motion to disapprove the approval of ordinance number 3409.
Can you do that, Billy? Yes, that's fine.
Good, I'll second it. And we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, so the motion is to
Deny
the application.
Correct.
So a yes vote is to deny the application.
Correct.
Any other questions? Submit your.
And I guess we can't state why.
No.
But that's another whole issue.
You're
We'll deal with.
voting yes or no.
Yeah, correct.
Submit your votes.
I'll vote Strand.
See the votes. It's unanimous to deny the ordinance number 3409, request to rezone property at 120 West Lakewood Drive. Item number 7, ordinance number 3410 to rezone property at 1300 block of East Triplet Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Another planned unit development. This is a property that's at the very end of East Triplet. To the north is actually county. These properties to the south are on East Triplet. And the request does have an exception to the standards, which has to do with the timing of installation of the improvements, and I'll kind of go over that. The property is, sorry, no, you're fine. It's a 5.87 acre property, and it's currently zone C2, going to I-1, which is our limited like manufacturing. And one of the main reasons for going to that is so down the road, the applicant doesn't get into that area of what is or isn't allowed within the C2 versus a manufacturing. It obviously is not going to allow any type of heavy manufacturing, but it would take away some possible issues with uses down the road. Again, you have my staff report that went over all that. One of the other things is the applicant is a local business, and so the resources aren't always there compared to others, so he had requested that some of the improvements, which is basically the driveway area from this road all the way to his building, be deferred and be allowed to have up to 18 months to do that. He would have gravel in the interim. It is an area that doesn't see a lot of traffic, and his use itself probably will not bring a lot of traffic because it's not a typical retail type use. So with that, the Planning Commission recommended approval 4-0 to allow for the multi-building commercial industrial development with the condition that the allowance of paving for the access drives be gravel, and paving for the access drives must be completed within 18 months of the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the first building. 2, the driveway approach and the minimum parking, including ADA spaces to accommodate the first building, must be hard surfaced. And then the other was a standard condition. Again, if they have an amendment, it would have to go through this process. So with that, I give it back to the council. The applicant is here if you have any questions.
Okay?
Dan.
Questions from the council?
Excuse me, Mayor. I apologize. Dan, I want to clarify, were one of your points there that the certificate of occupancy is contingent upon the final installation of the sealed surface? Did I hear that correctly?
Oh, no. What did I say?
I want to make sure that that condition is in there. If we're going to allow a deviation from the rules, we need to.
Oh, within 18 months of the certificate of occupancy. So once he receives the CO for the first building, he has up to 18 months to get the improvements in.
Okay, and a lack of the improvements being completed would constitute a revocation of the certificate of occupancy?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Questions, council?
There were no complaints from.
No, we did not receive any at the Planning Commission, no letters, no emails, no calls.
Is there anybody here?
Yeah, the applicant is here, Mr. Blake.
No one, no opposition is here on it?
Motorcycle racing.
No.
None.
No.
I'll entertain.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one where the dirt track was at, right?
Yes.
And this
Yes,
was the guy,
yes.
remember about 3 years
Yep.
ago? I think he came in, he was gonna put a motorcycle track in there, and I
Yeah.
said, no way, Jose.
Yeah, that's, I believe, the same property.
That's the
Yes.
location.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
not gonna do that, right?
No, this is going to be a nice new building for a local business to flourish within the city of Guthrie.
Marble, right?
Yeah, he's the marble, yeah.
What do you mean marble?
That's what he does. What's his name? Artistic Grant.
Oh,
He
you're right
currently
down
is on
on
South
end of my
Division.
property you're on there right now.
Yeah, he's on
Division.
South Division. He's currently leasing, and so now he bought the property so they can own their own building and property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make that motion then.
Okay. Motion
A
to
lot of people want to
approve.
do that.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
I'll vote Strand.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to approve ordinance number 3410, rezoning property at the 1300 block of East Triplet Road from C2 to I-1 PUD. Item number 8, City of Guthrie official ballot for the OMAG, Oklahoma Municipal Assurance. There are, I believe there were eight applicants. There are 2 vacancies. There are 8 applicants. The city received letters requesting consideration from 2 of the 8 applicants who also happen to be the incumbents. I would support the continuation of those 2 individuals, Mr. Bailey and Mr. Stevenson, both city managers. Yeti, I'm sure you know them.
Yes, sir.
Well respected in the state, and one is a CPA actually, so that's also a great background. So I would move that we nominate Mr. Bailey and Mr. Stevenson as our 2 nominees from the city of Guthrie.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to support the nominations of Mr. Bailey and Mr. Stevenson to the continuation on the OMAG Board of Directors. Item number 9, City Manager Report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I will distribute my city manager report via email and post on the city's social media by the end of the week.
Good deal.
All right, good. Item number 10, comments from members of the City Council. Councilman Robb.
I was just excited to hear the presentation today. I appreciate that. One of the main reasons I got on council was for the downtown revitalization, so I'm really hoping we can move forward with something. I know today was just a presentation, but I'm really looking forward to that. Other than that, that is all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Taylor.
I agree with that. I think that's great. I want to see the downtown start being revitalized. We got some buildings that, well, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, and we've got a young lady and her husband are building homes down in this area, and that's great. That's just awesome. The downtown area is starting to revitalize. 89ers was successful, and Red Brick Nights, I didn't realize we had that nice big setup where they're on the stage. So I think that's fantastic. So staff, thank you guys. I know all of you work hard at everything you do, so I really appreciate it very much.
Councilman Williams.
The key points of that presentation were visualize what you want. And we all can identify with that. Having lived here all my life and seen it go from brick to metal facades back to brick and all this, and there's a lot to do, and you got to start with planning. So I'm happy to move forward with that. Whatever the city manager says we can afford, we'll do.
I bet that Kim will have something to say.
Councilman Guthrie.
I want to, again, recognize both our chief of police and fire. You guys do a heck of a job, and your staff, I think, conveys that to us outside of just what you guys do, through their loyalty and their commitment. Seriously, you guys are awesome. And I do like the presentation also. I like them so much more on not just downtown revitalization as Guthrie as a whole. There's a tremendous amount of area and opportunity where tax-paying type businesses could be brought in, obviously through economic development. It's always been a key point of mine is economic development, more tax dollars. That's it for me.
Vice Mayor Aguirre.
I want to thank Your Honor for your absence during 89ers. I immensely enjoyed the power that I had as acting mayor. It was really, really wonderful. I had such a good time. I was hoping for riots in the streets so that I could use my military authority to call out the National Guard in case of said rioting, so I enjoyed that immensely. I do want to thank all of the city staff that participated in our parade entry. It was so much fun. I had a really good time. We will never let the city manager drive the truck again because the vice mayor, who was in cowboy boots and had to run to keep up, was sore for 3 days after that. I loved Justin's, you can't throw candy, but you can sure drop it really, really fast. And watch the children scramble for that, so I enjoyed that. I want to thank Councilman Taylor for your work on the parade. It was really, really
Thank you.
An incredible opportunity and a lot of fun. So thank you. So if you want to be gone next year, again, at 89ers, I will gladly be acting mayor again. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure I can afford the candy that's presented at the 89er parade, but the city manager now has taken that responsibility over, so.
Not anymore. I've been
Well,
So you're the candy
again,
man now.
congratulations to all involved with the 89er parade. It is obviously established by the American Legion, but it is a host of civic organizations and a tremendous, tremendous support from city departments throughout all of the departments to make that happen. That and a lot of the other things that happen. Again, great kickoff to Red Brick Nights. That will be continuing success also as we move on. And I will echo the great thanks that we have to our first responders, to police, fire, and again, when we have nights like last night, we tend to be very, very thankful for them, but actually, we are thankful for them every day, every night. So thank you for all
One
the
quick
things that
thing,
you do.
Mayor. Chris, thank you. I appreciate you always doing this each year, putting Guthrie News Page and putting 89ers up there. I've had several people that at the Capitol said that they watched it. They hadn't realized it was on YouTube. I said you can either YouTube it or Facebook it, so thank you very much. You did a great job.
Thank you. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned.
That's because the monkey's the man.